Hey boys and girls, today we're going to read a book called The First Thanksgiving, written by Lisa Hardrader. And I can't wait to get in here and see what the first Thanksgiving was like. This is the table of contents. The table of contents page shows us how the author has organized this book and the information about the first Thanksgiving. If I wanted to find information about the meal served at the first Thanksgiving, I am probably going to turn to page 9 to talk about the feast. The feast is another word for meal. And I am going to jump to page 11 here. We're going to read some Thanksgiving myths. Myths are things that have been passed down from generation to generation. They're not necessarily always true. And then we're going to read the facts about them. The Thanksgiving story has been told countless times, yet many things we believe about the first Thanksgiving are not true. And if I look at this picture, I see that the boat looks real and the people look real, even though we've learned that photographs are in nonfiction books. You can also have drawings or paintings. This is what we call a caption about the picture, and the English settlers did not meet any Native Americans until months after they arrived. The name Pilgrims. The myth says the English settlers were called Pilgrims. And the fact about that is, in England, people were not allowed to belong to any church except the Church of England. The settlers left England so they could have their own church. They called themselves separatists, not pilgrims, because their church was separate from the Church of England. That's interesting, because I've always wanted to know why the pilgrims left England. Again, here's another picture, a drawing of a lady harvesting corn. Today we celebrate Thanksgiving on one day. The first Thanksgiving took place over several days. The name Thanksgiving. The myth says the settlers called their feast Thanksgiving, and the fact is the settlers did not call their feast Thanksgiving. For them it was a harvest festival. Festival means a big celebration, a party. For thousands of years, people all over the world, including Native Americans, have celebrated a good harvest with feasts and ceremonies. The settlers' feast in 1621 was part of a long tradition. I think a harvest festival would be very fun and tasty. The clothing. Look at this. That's not how we dress today, is it? No. The myth. Pilgrims dressed in grim black clothing. They wore silver buckles on their shoes and hats. And the fact is the actual pilgrims didn't wear silver buckles. Silver was expensive, and buckles weren't in style. They wore clothing dyed in colors such as red, green, blue, and violet, which violet is a purple. The Wampanoag wore deerskin and breechcloths, leggings, mantles, and moccasins. They often decorated their clothing with paint. Their tradition. This is Sarah Josephina Hale. She also wrote the nursery rhyme, Mary Had a Little Lamb. The myth. People in the United States celebrated Thanksgiving each year after that very first Thanksgiving. The facts. The United States didn't have a national Thanksgiving holiday until almost 250 years later. Sarah Josepha Hale was a writer and magazine editor in the 1800s. She grew up in New Hampshire, a place where people celebrated a Thanksgiving holiday. Sarah believed that the whole country should celebrate Thanksgiving. Sarah wrote editorials about Thanksgiving in her magazine. She wrote letters to 5 different presidents. Finally, in 1863, President Abraham Lincoln declared Thanksgiving a national holiday. And this, remember, is a caption that authors add to provide more information about the picture. Ooh, yummy, yummy. The food. The myth. On Thanksgiving, most people eat turkey, sweet potatoes, cranberry sauce, and pumpkin pie. We often think this is the meal the Pilgrims and Wampanoag ate. The facts, their real feast was much different. They ate venison, or deer meat, from the deer the Wampanoag people brought. They did eat wild fowl, but it could have been turkey, duck, or goose. They could have eaten roasted pumpkin, but they didn't have butter, flour, and sugar to make a pie. They wouldn't be served cranberry sauce. Without sugar, cranberries were very sour. Finally, sweet potatoes come from South America. At the time of the feast, sweet potatoes hadn't been brought to North America. This tells us how the first Thanksgiving meal was compared to what it is now. Now we eat the turkey, sweet potatoes, cranberry sauce, and pumpkin pie. Much, much different than what the first Pilgrims ate. And that's all I'm going to read of this book. This is the glossary, and the glossary, remember, tells you about words, that the new vocabulary that the author has introduced in this book. Now, I want you to go to our Canvas page and click on Blended Learning. And under Blended Learning, you will see 4 different turkeys. I want you to click on your group, and there you will have an assignment that you will need to complete. And this is now I want you to go to your Canvas group, your Canvas page, and submit an assignment on the first Thanksgiving. And I want you to tell me one fact about the first Thanksgiving. Be sure to hit the blue submit button, answer the question, one fact about the first Thanksgiving, and hit the blue button again to submit. Thank you, and if you have any questions, let me know, please.